So I just wanted to share some musings that I had in the shower last night before I head out. Um, I've been to France 3 times, and every time I've encountered something more extraordinary and more of pretending more of a sense of belonging than likely any other place has. And I think that I have battled with the idea that perhaps it was because, obviously quality of life is so different. It is such a beautiful place in many ways. You have tropes and stereotypes that are associated with, the finery of the place. But when I've actually been mulling over this for a number of years now, um, it was because France served the complexity that I was longing for in my life. And the first time that I went, I was 17, and I went and I stayed in a monastery in Taizé. And this was at the ending cycle of a love affair with a partner who had cancer. So my first boyfriend had cancer, and I was his caretaker, one of his caretakers. And through that choice, that experience both broke me open in a way that I can never reconcile and never would want to, because it was, almost like truly divine. I feel like that kind of leaning into that kind of suffering and choosing that has had an effect on my very cells and how I feel the world. But it ended up separating me from different kind of life that I could have had. And so after my time with him, I was exceptionally lost as a 17-year-old, trying to heal and also trying to see what life was about. Because when you're holding someone who could very well be dying, things like prom don't matter the same way. Or going into, college and pretending like you know what you're doing and spending someone else's money to do that. So I was certainly seeking, and I ended up being able to go to this monastery. And the moment that I came up from the airport, it was a completely different world. It was one of my dreams, and it was one that seemed to have a language to articulate the gray areas and the painful areas, and not try to sweep them up in heroics and get better tactics. And I didn't experience a process of having to get better in France at all. I healed in France. And since then, every time there's been a calling to be there for this very particular kind of complexity that it makes me truly alive. And so at one point it was, the second time I went was healing from caretaking. My grandmother had dementia, and watching somebody that I love again lose all sense of themselves and yet have such a able body. And I had to go pour some of that out. And then the last was going with my friend Natalie at the onset of this concept of choosing anthropology, which was a choice for the complex. And we went as kind of this nascent concept of what we might want to do in our careers, and to choose a career really for my own life is terrifying, and to predicate my efforts entirely on my own success this way is terrifying. And so going with Natalie and experiencing just a taste of that, again, serve that complexity upon complexity upon complexity. So there's kind of this like Ouroboros of healing that's doing somersaults, that's on a Ferris wheel, that's like continue about my relationship with this place. And so this is the first time that I'm taking that all really seriously and vulnerably. Yeah. So I just want to mark these ideas down because I know that they are going to change and be informed while I'm there. And I just feel so grateful to be able to do that.